Good news, everyone! I have returned. Anyway, as you can see by the video title, Chicken of Every Type. I accomplished what every artist hopes to do at some point. Draw chickens. Chickens, that's what I meant to say. Anyway, as you probably know, there's one chicken Pokemon, Blaziken. But since Torchic's fire type and Blaziken's fighting type, that's two typings. So, with so many typings, let's get into it. So, starting with grass is probably the expected outcome. I mean, it's where I started with the Tauros video, and well, it's the same kind. I'm actually kind of surprised there hasn't been a chicken of every type yet, because I mean, like, chicken's a very common animal with a lot of things that you can do with it. Anyway, with this design, it was literally just me saying, small potato chicken. I've said it before, I think baby chickens just look like potatoes. So, that led me to a tater tot. Though that's the American version, otherwise they're known as potato gems, tasty taters, oven crunchies, mat gamja, and other variations depending on location. I mean, it's literally just one small thing becoming another small round thing. It's easy. Tater tick is obviously a mix of, well, tater tot and chick. Tater tick, the tater Pokemon, a pure grass type. Now, while I could make a wholly unique design for each type, I ain't got time for that. So its evolution lines here. This one has 3 split evolutions, because potatoes are a versatile food, and chickens are a versatile bird. As an example, our ice type option is the favorite of the Caucasian race, potato salad. Look, if I'm honest, potato salad ain't even that good, though it's always there for some reason I can't describe. Anyway, the ice type here comes from the fact that potato salad is a food that needs to be refrigerated. You know, put in the fridge, chilled, cooled. I figured that was, ice. As for what breed of chicken I used, Silkies, I mean, look at them. They look like they've got on little puffy snow coats. How could I not? I mean, look, they're just so cute, cool, and fluffy. Salky is, well, potato salad and Silky. Salky, the snow chicken Pokemon, a grass ice type. Now, as for the electric type option, you might actually recognize this design if you've watched the YouTubers as Pokemon Trainers video. Mainly since this is one of the designs in that video. It's also a short as well, and the short actually did perform pretty well. Chicken Potato Frankenstein. It's a potato battery because, like, obviously, that's a thing in real life, so easy translation. It really was made to just be a weird little freak. I mean, it's not even a specific breed of chicken, it's just vaguely chicken-like. It's just a potato that looks like a chicken. It's just as much of a little freak as it can possibly be. I mean, like, no debate, it's grass electric type, obviously. Though I also threw in a baked potato because, why not? Potattery is, well, potato battery. Yeah, not my most creative. Potattery, the potato battery Pokemon, an electric grass type. For the ground type, I went for the prairie. Mainly because there's this thing called the prairie chicken, and it has these weird things on its neck. These weird things that I can very easily turn into potatoes. Also, the prairie is just large, open, ground, nothingness, dirt. There's a lot of diversity species-wise, but just field. Though, the ground type also comes from the fact that, potatoes grow in the ground. So that was a rather simple connection. Honestly, I just really like these evolutions. I mean, they're rather interesting, just a bit odd and varied. Though given the variety of poultry and potato products, I feel like the diversity in these designs works rather well. Prairie Spud is, well, prairie, spud, but also potato. Prairie Spud, the Prairie Spud Pokemon, a grass ground type. When it comes to the normal type, this is actually a redesign of one of my old designs, which, believe it or not, was made before Pokemon leaked this design. It's just a little cowardly chicken that runs away from trouble at the first chance. I altered the design to make it look less like the leaked design from the official company, because let's be honest, some of you are just here for the stuff and you're not really gonna listen to the fact that this came first. Though I kept most of what I wanted to. the overall esque pattern on the body, just to get across that it's the most generic chicken possible. You know, normal type. The stereotypical white feathered farm chicken. It also kept its expression the same. It's petrified. Run for your life. Coward chick is like, you know, coward chicken, but also together it sounds like cowardice. See? Coward chick. The cowardice Pokemon. A pure normal type. Poison type was also just really easy. Bumblefoot is a condition that can affect chickens. It basically makes their foot swell. You know, like they got stung by a bee. Bumblefoot. If I have to put the pieces together, that's your own fault. Also, considering that chickenpox is a thing, it's really just easy, which leads to the normal poison type. A rather unique typing, since it's only Grafii and Strudel, which, gotta be honest, love those things. Anyway, Bumbasquawk. You know, Bumblefoot, bumble around, squawk. Pretty simple. It's just a giant chicken kaiju that stumbles around because it can't control its new height or weight. It also can't get a good footing because, you know, swollen feet. It goes from running away from everything and everything to just stumbling around and inadvertently causing others to run. Kind of an interesting dynamic between base form and Evo. Bumbasquawk. You know, coming from Bumble, but also Bumblefoot. And then, you know, Squawk. Because it's a bumbling, fumbling squawk. Bumbacluck. The bumbling Pokemon. A normal poison type. Bug is always a difficult one, mainly since it's taking something that clearly isn't a bug and making it a bug. Last time I used mange and mites. While I could do the same thing, currently I don't want to. Fortunately, I have cartoon culture to draw from. Speaking of, do you know what overly large, disproportional eyes are called? Well, have you ever heard the term bug-eyed? Yeah, that's where this is going. It makes it way easier. There's actually a medical condition that makes chickens gain bug eyes, believe it or not. So, bulgy eye is a condition that you should look up without clicking on images. Just trust me on that. There's a lot more to it than what I can accurately display in the time I have, but anyway, the basics are that a stressed out chicken's nasal area swells and pushes their eyes further out, giving them bulgy eyes. You know, the name bulgy eye. Once again, if I have to put the pieces together, that's on you. Though I don't have to get too gross with it. I really just made a cartoon chicken with bulging eyes. Hey from Moana is rather similar design since, you know, same philosophy. Burb-eye as well. Of course, bird, eye, but also like bug-eyed. It's rather simple. A lot of these names are. Burb-eye, the bug-eyed Pokemon, a pure bug type. Dark was also not that difficult. There's a creature in Colombian folklore called Pollo Maligno. If you aren't aware, that literally translates to evil chicken. Once again, really, if I have to spell it out for you, that's your own problem. Basically, giant chicken that chases people and eats them. Some people have different ways of telling the story, but you generally can understand the point. So, a chicken that eats. I mean, considering meat birds are most often designed to just eat, and eat. A rather gluttonous chicken, I mean, gluttony is considered negative, is it not? I mean, it allowed me to just make a little bird that ate itself into a coma. I mean, it's cute, but it's not gonna be cute. Another interesting thing about the Pollo Maligno is that it's been recorded to fly. So, it's a giant flying chicken that eats people and sounds further away the closer it is. You know what? That's actually fairly scary, considering chickens grind their food within a gizzard. Maligchick, I mean, maligno, malignant, chick. Maligchick, the malignant Pokemon. A pure dark type. Moving on to the evolution. Its ability to fly is what gives this evolution its flying type. I also just took the evil, gluttonous chicken and kicked it up to 10. Now it has a devil's pitchfork for a tail. You know, because evil gluttony. Also, I didn't realize it looked somewhat similar to that bird boss from Luncheon Kingdom and Mario Odyssey, but I guess it just kinda does. It has some big, puffy cheeks, you know, because gluttony. Pollo Maligno is incredibly interesting to learn about, all things considered. Also, I gave this thing fangs because, you know, evil. It's literally an evil chicken that is surprisingly quite terrifying. I mean, I couldn't have been given an easier entry if I tried. I mean, Malignant is very similar. I mean, Maligno, Malignant, Chicken, but also Demon, because, you know, Devil's Pitchfork. Malignant, the Malignant Pokemon, a dark flying type. Moving on to Psychic, we have a single stage. So, yeah, there's another concept that works with Psychic, but I'm doing it after this one because it fits with another thing better. So I kind of had to switch lanes. Have you ever heard of a Napoleon complex? Basically, it's someone who doesn't like being short and gets mad when you call them short. The smallest chicken in the world is the Sarama. Believe me, look it up. It's incredibly nice. It's very small, but it's pretty cute. Anyway, they have this really cool stance to them where they just like puff out their chest, and considering, you know, Napoleon complex, small, but like they'll get angry if you call them small, and the whole small animals puffing themselves up to look bigger, you know, scare predators, I felt it actually worked pretty well. So it's just a small Sarama that acts like it's bigger than everyone else and then puffs out its chest, which controls people, gives them illusions, and makes people see it as larger than it is. It's a bird with a Napoleon complex that doesn't know it has a Napoleon complex because it and everything else thinks it's larger than it is. It's actually common in nature for smaller animals to puff up and make themselves look bigger. I mean, I just said that, but I feel I need to reiterate. It's not an uncommon practice. The whole illusion thing, yeah, that is uncommon, but I mean, in a sense, it is kind of an illusion because, you know, it's tricking people. Complex, Cluck. Once again, these names are really simple. Well, for the most part. Complecluck, the complex Pokemon, a pure psychic type. Dragon is also deceptively difficult in these kinds of situations. Now, of course, you could make the argument here, cockatrice, you know, rooster. But I didn't want to do that. That is too on the head. It's been done to death. So, how do I get around it? Well, remember when I said last time that dragons tend to be sort of noble or just really large? Well, the Jersey Giant chicken fits the large description. And its secondary inspiration, oh boy, I might butcher this, electriomancy, is, and I quote, a form of divination in which the diviner observes a bird, several birds, or, most preferably, a white rooster or cockerel pecking at grain, that the diviner, or diviner, I should say diviner actually, has scattered on the ground. However, electriomancy also does involve sacrificing sacred roosters to further understand connection and communication between God and man. So, gods, I mean, that sounds dragon to me. At least enough of a dragon, at least. Jaiken, giant, Jersey Giant, chicken. Jaiken, the divine connection Pokemon, a pure dragon type. Though you probably picked up on the whole sacrifice thing. Yeah, it's evolution, dragon ghost type. If you look at it, it probably screams psychic, which is kind of intentional. If Pokemon could have a third type, it would have psychic. But the reason for that is actually because electriomancy was like the first form of Ouija. You know, Ouija boards? Because another version of it is an observer tethers the bird to the center of a circle. And then the perimeter of the circle has the alphabet, a piece of grain at each letter. For each grain the bird pecks, the observer writes down the letter, which the grain represents. The observer also replaces each grain as the bird eats it, so the letters may be repeated. The sequence of letters recorded will presumably contain a message. So there is a point in time where someone just tethered a bird to the middle of a circle, and it's entirely possible that that bird went around and just pecked the right letters and absolutely changed the course of history because of a statement that a chicken made. I find it hilarious. And, you know, Ouija board, sacrifice to better connection, you know, it fit Ghost just about as well as Psychic, and I felt it was rather unique. You'll also notice on this design there is 26 stars, a direct reference to the 26 letters of the alphabet. You see it? Okay, now here's actually one I have to explain. Electoral. So, of course, electriomancy, but also cockerel, which is basically a, if I'm remembering correctly, castrated male chicken. I used it mainly because it, it worked well. At least, it flowed well. Electoral, the electriomancy Pokemon, a dragon ghost type. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe! As for rock, this one was honestly really easy. You see, I wanted to include the Minecraft chicken in here because, obviously, and well, a slab of rock just worked really easily. There's also various chickens with rock in the species name. For this, I used the Plymouth Rock chicken because, I think it looks at least somewhat like it's got little speckles in it, which, I felt lined up with stuff like concrete or gravel. It probably doesn't, but, And look, I'm not even gonna pretend this was 100% designed off the Minecraft chicken. Look, they even added new colors of chicken. Look at this. It literally is just the gray one. I'm not pretending, I'm not saying anything else, I'm being honest. It's just beautiful. It brings a tear to your eye, it really does. Anyway, Kabak, I feel I shouldn't have to explain this, but I will anyway. It's literally just cobblestone bok. If you didn't get it, that's on you. Kabak, the Cobble Pokemon, a pure rock type. Moving on to something more complicated, the Steel type. So, I'll be honest here, a bird in a shell was obviously going to be one of the things I did, because, it's a basic chicken thing, and, there just so happens to be a species of chicken called the Golden Wyandotte. So, I'm obviously playing with gold here. Why not mix in a bit of the golden goose? The goose that laid golden eggs. A chicken within a golden egg. Why not? Once again, you can make the argument it doesn't really work, but I kind of like it. Egg gold. This is, if you didn't get this one, that's on you. Egg gold. Golden egg. Egg gold. The golden egg Pokemon. A pure steel type. As for when it evolves, it covers the fairy type. So, the golden goose lays on a golden egg, and a golden Wyandotte lays on a golden nest. You see, it probably shouldn't come as much of a surprise to you at this point that chickens brood eggs, to hatch them. Motherhood, fairy type. Also, golden goose, fairy tale. I felt it fit. Just slap a gold ingot on it in place of its comb. Call it a day. It's just a bird in a nest. Heavily sedentary, lacking speed, but, gotta have pretty decent defense. Also, can we just talk about how pretty Golden Wyandottes look for a minute? They are very pretty. They look like the sun just, speckled against them, and they just kept the sunlight. It's absolutely gorgeous. Or, little gold nuggets are in their hair, which is honestly probably how they got the species name, now that I think about it. Wyanest. Wyandotte. And the nest, because its whole thing is that it's laying on a nest, a golden nest, with a golden egg. Wyanest, the golden nest Pokemon, a steel fairy type. Last up we have water, which is definitely the most out there. So, the Icelandic chicken. I was doing research, saw this species, and said, you know what? Why not? So, Iceland was, Nordic, henceforth Vikings. I mixed a chicken and a Viking ship. Don't ask me why, don't ask me how. It was one of those things where it was just, you know what? I'm doing this today. You gotta respect it to a certain extent. Also, to talk about Iceland real quick, the thing that, Greenland was named Greenland to trick people and that Iceland was named Iceland to trick people is a myth. There was no connection with the names. Iceland was supposedly named when the first person to intentionally, I said intentionally because there were other people who didn't intend to be there first, but the first person to intentionally travel to the island, climbed a mountain, saw ice caps, and said, yeah, this place is Iceland. There's ice here. And then people slapped him on the back, said he was brilliant, and roll with it. Gotta respect it. But yeah, Icelandic chickens are actually rather interesting, all things considered, because they're actually rather rare outside of Iceland, which I don't know, I think makes it more fun. Also, for a lot of birds, or chickens, I should say, they have like a certain look that they should possess at the very least. However, the Icelandic chicken varies so greatly in appearance, and they are landrace birds, which means they evolve to different conditions that it lives in, meaning that a standard of perfection cannot be found. So quite literally, they are so diverse in their appearance and their adaptability that they cannot be defined. I think that's just awesome. Using chicken as an insult, as I can tell, is actually a rather recent thing, because chickens have been seen as, like, symbols of, well, I wouldn't say, I guess divinity, yeah, because they have been tied with, like, gods and stuff for a while. Also, fun fact, the term alpha male comes from the same place as the term pecking order, a paper researching chickens. So when you're going to school this year and that annoying person decides to call themselves an alpha male, just tell them they're a chicken. Explain where it came from. They are literally doing it to themselves. Viken. A Viking chicken. Look, you don't really have to put a ton of thought into these names if you don't really want to. I mean, as long as you get the point across, that's all that matters. Viken, the sailor Pokémon. A pure water type. But anyway, that's it for this video. Anyway, this is Jay, signing away, forever and always. Bye-bye.